Karen called 911 on me again. This time I recorded everything and filed harassment charges. Have you ever wondered what it feels like to be targeted by someone who twists the truth to wield power over you? For Marcus, a 32-year-old graphic designer living in a quiet suburban neighborhood, that question became a chilling reality. It started with a simple misunderstanding over a parking spot, but it spiraled into a nightmare when his neighbor, Karen, dialed 911 for the second time in a month, claiming he was a threat to her safety. This time, Marcus was ready. He recorded everything, and what unfolded was a masterclass in karma catching up to a liar. The trouble began 3 weeks earlier when Marcus parked his car slightly over the line into Karen's designated spot in their shared apartment complex. Karen, a middle-aged woman known for her sharp tongue and obsession with rules, stormed out, banging on his window and accusing him of stealing her space. Marcus apologized, moved his car, and thought it was over. But Karen wasn't done. Days later, she called 911, claiming Marcus had threatened her with violence during the parking dispute. The police arrived, questioned both parties, and left without charges, as there was no evidence. Marcus was shaken but chalked it up to a one-time overreaction. He couldn't have been more wrong. Karen's vendetta only grew. She began watching Marcus's every move, glaring from her balcony whenever he left his apartment. She complained to the landlord about suspicious activity and even posted in the neighborhood Facebook group, vaguely accusing certain residents of being dangerous. Marcus tried to keep the peace, avoiding her and documenting her behavior in case things escalated. His gut told him this wasn't over, and he was right. One sunny Saturday afternoon, as Marcus watered his small patio garden, Karen struck again. This time, she claimed he was lurking near her apartment and called 911, sobbing to the dispatcher that she feared for her life. But Marcus had learned from the first incident. He'd installed a small security camera on his patio and kept his phone recording in his pocket whenever he was outside. As Karen stood on her balcony, shouting at him to stay away while dialing 911, Marcus calmly continued watering his plants, knowing every word and action was being captured. The police arrived within minutes, and Karen put on a performance worthy of an Oscar. Tears streaming down her face, she told the officers Marcus had been stalking her for weeks and that she felt unsafe in her own home. She pointed to his garden hose as if it were a weapon, claiming he'd brandished it threateningly. The officers turned to Marcus, their expression skeptical but professional, asking for his side of the story. Marcus didn't argue or raise his voice. Instead, he pulled out his phone and played the audio recording. Karen's voice echoed clearly, berating him unprovoked while he remained silent. Then he showed the security footage, which captured Karen pacing her balcony, glaring at him, and making the 911 call with no visible threat in sight. The officers' faces hardened as they watched. They asked Karen to explain the discrepancy, and her composure cracked. She stammered, claiming she felt threatened, even if the video didn't show it. The officers weren't buying it. They warned her about the consequences of filing false police reports and left, advising Marcus to consider pressing charges for harassment. That's when the twist came. Marcus wasn't alone in his frustration with Karen. Another neighbor, Mrs. Alvarez, a retired schoolteacher who'd lived in the complex for a decade, approached him after the police left. She revealed that Karen had pulled similar stunts before, targeting a young couple who'd moved out last year after Karen's relentless complaints. Mrs. Alvarez had kept emails from the couple detailing Karen's behavior, including a 911 call she'd made claiming they were drug dealers with zero evidence. Armed with this new information, Marcus decided he'd had enough. He wasn't just fighting for himself, was standing up for everyone Karen had bullied. The confrontation came at the next tenant meeting, where Marcus presented his case to the landlord and other residents. He played the recordings, shared Mrs. Alvarez's evidence, and announced he'd filed harassment charges against Karen with the local police department. The room was stunned. Karen, who'd shown up expecting to dominate the meeting with her usual complaints, turned pale. She tried to deflect, accusing Marcus of invading her privacy with the recordings, but the landlord cut her off. He'd received multiple complaints about Karen over the years, but lacked concrete proof until now. The evidence was undeniable, and the tide turned swiftly. Karen's downfall was as dramatic as her accusations. The harassment charges stuck, and she faced a misdemeanor for filing a false police report, carrying a potential fine and up to 6 months in jail. The landlord issued her a formal eviction notice, citing her pattern of disruptive behavior. Neighbors who'd once stayed silent now spoke out, sharing stories of Karen's petty vendetta-calling animal control on a dog that barked once, reporting a teenager for skateboarding in the parking lot. The neighborhood Facebook group exploded with posts supporting Marcus, and Karen's vague accusations were deleted by moderators. She became a pariah, her reign of terror over. As the dust settled, Marcus felt a weight lift. He hadn't set out to destroy Karen's life, but her actions demanded consequences. The charges and eviction were a bitter pill for her, but they were the result of her own choices. Marcus's recordings and Mrs. Alvarez's courage had exposed a truth too long ignored. Bullies thrive in silence, but they crumble when the light shines on them. He decided to share his story online, not for revenge, but to inspire others to stand up to their own Karens. His post went viral, sparking thousands of comments from people who'd faced similar harassment and fought back. In the end, Marcus's victory wasn't just about winning a battle, it was about reclaiming his peace and showing others they could do the same. He moved forward, his garden thriving, his neighbors now friends. Karen, meanwhile, faded into obscurity, a cautionary tale of what happens when entitlement meets accountability. Have you ever faced a Karen who tried to twist the truth against you? What did you do, and was it worth the fight? Share your thoughts. Your story might inspire someone else to stand their ground.